Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Well, I've got to do some work in here, and the thing I've got to do is we're working on doors. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to fix this door. This is a particular door that's almost rubbing. We're getting ready to paint these doors, and the reason why I want to fix this door now is because if I paint, and you paint the edge of this door here and the edge of your jamb, you're actually going to put a minuscule amount of paint on there. I don't want it rubbing off on here. Plus, I know I can fix this door because I've got a little bit of gap on these hinges. See how big of the gap I have up there? Look at that. I know I can push the door over to the left, and I look down here at the bottom. See how big that gap is? I know I've got some room there. So in a sense, I'm going to take this whole door. I've already looked at this door. I'm going to climb up here, look up at the top. You see here? See this gap? This is a nice gap all the way along there. So I know that the door is not sagging. If this door was sagging, I'd have a big gap right there and a smaller gap over here on where the hinge side of the door is. Okay? And if that gap was really super big, I wouldn't have any gap here next to the edge, would I? Because this door would be sagged down and it would probably be touching here and rubbing, but that's not the case. In fact, I've got a little bit of a gap there, which is fine, but in reality, when I look at this door, right down here, this gap is almost tight. So I can, in a sense, this is an 8 foot tall door. What I'm gonna try to do is suck over every single one of these hinges to the left a little bit further. Okay, I'm going to start with that top one, and if you can see, if I take the door and move it over to the left, obviously I'm going to gain a little bit of room over here. Okay, I'm going to try that first. If that doesn't work all the way, there's another trick I can do too. So if that's something you want to watch, stick around. Okay, can you see that? I think you can. I got this turned. The first thing I'm going to do here is take my drill, and I've got to take this out. And I've got to flop this hinge back. Sometimes it's tricky, but see, I'm just wiggling on the door and it came off. They usually don't come off that easy, trust me on that. See there, pulling on the door because it's a hollow core door, plus it's an 8 foot tall door. Okay, so now let's talk about this here. Now that I pulled that out, I'm going to drill 2 holes in here, and I'm going to drill them right up in here, up towards the top and about there. I don't want to get it too close because I don't want the head to get in there. But I don't want the screw. I don't want them too close in here because you got to remember, from this edge over 1/2 inch that's the sheetrock wall. So the 2x4 doesn't start until about there. From there, that way. You see what I mean? So I'm gonna take my little adapter off, and I've got an 1/8 inch drill bit, and what you can do is you can check now. See, I've got some different screws here. And this is 2.5 inch drywall screws, and these are the coarse threads. Ah, that's the drill bit. See how coarse the threads is? That means it's big threads. You can get sheetrock screws. If you're not watching it, they're fine threads, and the fine threads are for sheet metal work and metal studs, but you get the coarse threads, and that's for wood. Okay, remember that. I mean, you can. I used to use sheet metal thin threads for that, and it would work, but I found it works a lot better with the coarse threads. And I got 2 different size screws. These are 2.5 inches long. This is a 3 inch long, and it's the same. See how coarse the threads are? They're big and wide. Okay, so then usually I use like an 1/8 inch drill bit, and I usually try to line that up and see how big that is with the threads and stuff. Now, granted, I can almost have that the same size as that thread because I'm going to drill this right into the wood. And once I put this in my drill, there's, you know, the drill's got to hold it by so much, you know. So I'm only can drill it so far through here, and it's only going to go into the wood a little bit before the rest of the screw is going to take over and drill the rest. So that's why I get two sizes in case the 3" is being too hard to ram in there. Maybe I have to use the 2.5. Okay. So just bear with me here. I'm gonna put this in there, and I don't want to put, when I put this in the drill, I don't want to stick this whole thing all the way in until it sets. I want to pull this out as far as I can get it, but so that I can still get a good grip on it. You know, so maybe I'm only sticking it in 1/4 of an inch or less. And I want to make sure I'm going in there straight. You don't get it in there straight, this will wobble. So you want to check that out too. I got it on low, and I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put it on high. Make sure I got it going forward, and I'm going to go through there. Now, if you have a scratch awl, see, I got a scratch awl. It's got a sharp tip, and it's got, I like the one with the metal tip on there. You can get one with just the wood or a heavy plastic handle, but lots of times you do that. If you get one with just wood without the metal tip, because that metal tip goes all the way through there, eventually you're going to crack the head. And so if you want, you can put that right where you're going to go. That just kind of starts it. You know, you don't have to do that. You can still use the drill bit, but sometimes the drill bit wants to walk on you. And when I drill this in, instead of drilling perfectly straight, I'm just going to catch the edge of the wood stud. So I'm going to put it in at a slight angle, right? I want to put it in a little bit of an angle so it gets more into the wood back there, right? And then just back it out after a while, a little bit at a time. Forward, backward. Okay. Just concentrate on getting it at an angle. You don't want to get it too much of an angle. You don't have to be way out here like at 45. Just have it 10-degree angle or whatever. Okay. I can put this back in. And I don't need to use this one, but see, this has a little shaft here where once you put the head in, you can keep it in there without it wobbling around. You can put this over it if you want. I don't usually do that. I usually just leave it. This just happened to be on there because I wanted an extension with the magnetic tip that you can just push this on and it stays. Now, a little tip for you. I got a magnetic one like this, and it was a little bit shorter. I thought, oh, they're all the same. And I tried to fit it in there, and I had to push real hard, and then I couldn't just pull it right out. I'm like, what's the deal here? And I actually looked at it, and there's a little clip in that one that kind of hangs onto this, and I had, every time I wanted to pull this out, even though it was magnetic, I had to get my pliers out. I had to get my pliers out and grab this and pull it out because there was a little thing in there. It just happened to be the one, you know, I didn't even know they made those. So I make it a point, and I haven't gotten another one without this little slide on there to just have it pushed right in there. So make sure you get the right one at the store. And sometimes they have a little extension that's not magnetic, and then your tips always have a problem, you know, wanting to fall out. So make sure you get the magnetic one. All right. So I'm going to use the 2.5 inch first. Let's see how that goes. Make sure you put it back on low. Don't keep it on high. On low, you can really get it in there. See, now I'm getting it into the stud right there. And that actually, I want it flush or actually dug into the wood a little bit, okay? This seemed fine. I don't think I'm gonna do the 3 inch. I don't think I really need the 3 inch on this one, but you know, if you think you can suck it in there a little bit more, you could take the 2.5 inch out, you could put the 3 in there and see if you can ram it in there. In fact, let's just do it and see. Ooh, Boy, I got that in there. Last thing I want is for that head to break off, huh? So let's try the 3-inch, see if I can get it rammed all the way in there. Okay, I got it, it's pushed in there. There's only so far you're going to be able to push this in, especially with the shims in there or wherever the nails are. In fact, there's a nail that's sticking out right there, so I know that I sucked it in pretty good actually. And what I can do with that is, if I can find my putty knife, I can find a putty knife, stick that over that, make that flush like that. So I don't really care. I could take a nail set, take that and put it in there, but what's going to happen is the nail's going to bend over, and then I'm going to have a hole in there. I don't need a hole or anything, do I? The painters are going to come, that's going to go away. Okay, so just for kicks, you know, that might be enough for this one particular hinge, but I'm going to decide to put in the second one because I'm here, I've already pre-drilled that. Sometimes you might have a shim that's nice and tight here and you put that in there and you think, okay, there's nothing I can do, but then you put another screw in there and it's far away enough from the shims or whatever up in there. Maybe that gives it just enough for this to flex, just a little bit more to get this hinge pushed in just where you want it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the 2.5 inch up here. Okay, now I can slide that back in there like that. I can put these little screws back in, and you know that one I don't think is so I don't want to get those tight with that. I don't like doing that. I just do this by hand. Okay, until they're snug. And see, this one's spinning. See that? And look at that, this one's spinning. So right now this hinge is only holding by that bottom screw. That's too bad. Because see, I'm going back to the store to fix some other ones, so I'll get a screw that's longer than this, and it may have to be long enough to, you know, inch and 3/4 to 2 inches to actually grab on the back side. And see, sometimes that, you know what, that may not work either. I might have to just get a little bit fatter screw in there, because that you put 2-inch long ones in there, you're gonna have to drive it. You're actually gonna have to take this out and pre-drill with the drill bit at a slight angle, because if you remember, you got 1/2 inch sheetrock through here. So if I got a longer screw and say, I'll just drive it into the stud, just like you did with those. Well, that's not going to work, because these are going straight in, especially this one here. I'd have to get that in a real far angle, and then if I do that, the head could be pooching out of the hinge, you know what I mean? So that one's snug down there, so that's good. And now I'm going to work on this next one up here. I'm going to do the same thing as I just did with this last one. Okay, let's see that in real time now, without me explaining anything, and just kind of do it. Okay, so here's the second one. Out, put my drill bit in there. Just stick the drill bit in a little bit. I'm going to put that on high. Make sure I'm Ellen forward. And now I have to get that one out. This one's not going to be as easy. Just put something in there. See, a small little screwdriver. You got to get one of these for your nail bag. If you don't have a small screwdriver, get one. Okay, that worked just going like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna take that out, put this in. Stick it on low. Get my 2.5 inch screws because that seemed to be working. You want to pre-drill your screws. You pre-drill your holes. Don't just ram them in there because you could crack your jamb. Plus that drill bit is actually starting your hole into the wood stud behind there. And those wood studs are, this particular house is 17 years old. Okay, so now I still got it on low, and I'm not going to go all the way tight. Pretty close. Happy trigger finger here. If you don't use a drill, the more you use a drill, the more you're going to get used to the handle. Now I can go back and double check these. Now see that one? Look at that. These are, that one's tight. These two aren't as tight as they could be, are they? That's kind of discouraging. But it's working. I may have to get a different little screw, maybe the next thread up, put it in there, but I like it that those get tight, and that's what happens over time. You're going to get screws like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep working up. I'm going to get that third one down now.